Come join me in the garden. Sunday afternoon. Let's have a beer. Let's talk about writing. I know I'm not supposed to have beer because I'm trying to lose weight, but it's been a rough week. I worked all morning. If a man can't have a beer on a Sunday afternoon while talking crap with his friends on YouTube, then what's the point, right? The topic today is a bit of an encompassing one. And I need to keep my empathy in check here. I belong to many writers groups on Facebook, and people are always asking for advice. How do I do this? How do I do that? And here's the thing that's going to sound really judgmental and why I need to keep my empathy in check. People ask really stupid questions, as in really stupid. Now, the thing is that we all started somewhere, especially in, I can use this as a great example in the photography industry when I was still doing commercial and industrial photography. We all start somewhere. Somebody asks a stupid question, you need to remember we all started somewhere. But here's the thing. Once you've started, you've started. I know many people who've been starting for years. You could have had a degree in law in the same time it took these people to just start. No, I'm just starting. How long have you been photographing for? No, about 6 years. And you're still starting? You could have a PhD in this time. Once you've started, you started, and you need to grow. So, in my approach on how am I going to handle this video, I was reminded by a quote of Eleanor Roosevelt, who said, "Great minds talk about ideas, average minds talk about events, and small minds talk about people." I like that. I like that a lot, especially in everyday life. You want to know who the small minds are? Listen to the gossips. In the photography industry, we had a similar thing that said, amateurs talk about equipment, professionals talk about money, and masters talk about light. I love that. I loved that. The minute I heard that, I made a decision. I am going to become a master of light. And it's maybe the one thing in my life that I think I achieved. Photographic lighting is the one thing I know something about. I wrote books on it. I lectured on it. I used to be, one of the known experts in the region, in the city of Johannesburg about, you want to know about photographic lighting, you come talk to Gerry. I was proud of that. But I made it my mission. It was a single-minded determination to go out there and make myself a master of light. Are there people better than me? Of course. I'm not sitting here saying I'm king shit of Turd Hill. Just that it's a topic that I know what I'm doing when I talk about it. My dog just jumped off the stairs to come and have a wee. So, speaking of lighting, I see the shade through the trees is dappling. So I thought to myself, okay, if we can have that saying about amateurs, pros, and masters in photography, what would we say about writing? And I kicked that football around for a bit, and I came up with a very interesting, not to say it will be definitive, but it's a very interesting adage. Amateurs talk about inspiration, professionals talk about publication, and masters talk about story. That's what it's all about. Story, damn it, story. So let's dissect that. And amateurs talk about inspiration. Now, here with the shock horror, I don't believe in inspiration. Doesn't mean I don't believe it doesn't exist. Of course it exists. I'm just saying it's not a requirement. And to illustrate that, I will use two of my own books. First, my debut novel, Discovering Lee. I started writing this book in 1998, published it in 2018, 20 years later. I've been trying to write Discovering Lee probably since my teenage years. I only published it when I was way over 40. It wasn't a book that required inspiration. It was a book that required several first drafts, and once I figured out the draft that I was going to use, several rewrites and several edits on the rewrite in order to get Lee to where it is today. I am exceedingly proud of Lee. It's still my best-selling book. It's still the one that gets the highest ratings. Don't know why, because I don't think it's my best book. I've got at least 2 books better than Lee, but I'm very proud of it. The point is that there wasn't any inspiration behind Lee at all, as opposed to my latest publication, the Felicity Street series. Well, this is the first book in the series. This is the only one that's published. The other 3 in the series has been written but not published yet. Stay tuned. Oh, wait, let me do this, mandatory plug. Now available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback. I'm not sponsored yet, so I have to punt myself. Now, the thing about Felicity Street is, there it was inspiration. I woke up one morning without an idea that I have a new book in me, that I have a new series on book in me. One of my friends on Facebook mentioned something, and this entire Felicity Street series just fell into my lap. Wham! There it is. And 6 months later, I sat with a 700,000-word manuscript. Inspiration. It works. It's brilliant. But the thing is, you don't need it. And if the people on the Facebook groups can hear me now thinking, I've got writer's block, I will tell you that is an excuse. Writer's block is procrastination. Writer's block is an excuse. Writer's block doesn't exist. You want to know how you get over it? You want to know how you invite the muse of inspiration over? I should put this on a mug. Sit on your ass and write. Even if you don't know what to write, write. It ties in with what Chuck Close said. Amateurs wait for inspiration. Professionals just get to work. It is the process of sitting down and writing where you coax inspiration into being. If you don't know what to write, sit down and write for 2,000 words that you don't know what to write. You do that for a couple of hours or a couple of days, ideas will come up. Ideas beget ideas. Stop waiting for inspiration to hit. Just sit on your ass and write. The magic will come. Then, beer break. Amateurs talk about inspiration. Professionals talk about publication. Now, publication is seen as the holy grail of anything to do with writing, and probably rightly so. But here's the thing. It's a subtle but very important difference. Publication is a result, not a goal. If you do your job well, publication will come naturally. To write with the aim of publication is to miss the point of what it is to write about. And it's very easy to get lost in the romance of big deal publishing contracts and making money, and this is how I'm going to make my living. It's enticing. It really is. But that's not what it's about. Not as a writer. So this brings us to masters talk about story. How many times have I said it? Story, damn it, story. It is, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters. So, again, plot is what happens. Story is how it happens. I just need to go rescue my doggy. I'll be right back. And I'm back. He's old and I can't get up and down the stairs without help anymore. Okay, plot and story. Plot is what happens. Story is how it happens. And here's the truth that not many people want to hear. Good story will carry bad plot. Good plot will never carry bad story. And I can illustrate that quite easily. Think about The Sopranos. I spoke about this before when I spoke about character, but Sopranos is such a brilliant example. Think about what happened in The Sopranos. Some guy with a big V6 car coming down the driveway. I hope it doesn't bother the sound too much. What happened in The Sopranos? What is the plot of The Sopranos? You don't actually know. But what is the story of The Sopranos? The Sopranos story is actually brilliant. You follow Tony Soprano as he does his thing, trying to stay out of jail, trying to care for his wife and kids without getting too bogged down in things, and he's a very complicated and disturbed man. The New Jersey Mafia story is an enticing one. Don't ask me what happened, I can't remember a thing. But I remember the story made sense. Now the thing is, the question comes in, well, what happens if you've got both? What happens if you've got both a good plot and a good story? And then I'm going to say you've got your average Dick Wolf Law and Order episode. Law and Order is a brilliant combination of plot and story. Interesting twists and turns, the whodunits, the figure it out, and the story and the way Dick Wolf created Law and Order is brilliant. It's the perfect marriage between plot and story. It's fantastic. So what happens if you got great plots, but no real story? Then you got the Game of Thrones finale. Game of Thrones is brilliant. And then comes the finale of season 8 and everybody is like, what the hell was that? I am one of both people who actually liked the ending. And the reason why I like the ending was, plot-wise, it makes absolutely perfect sense. If you think about it, everything in the finale of Game of Thrones worked. Every plot line was tied up. How Bran became the king and how, what's his name, Jon Snow went back to, beyond the wall, and it was perfectly plot-driven conclusion. So why was everybody so up in arms about it? It's because it didn't make sense in the story. The story just, it didn't work. So even though plot-driven Game of Thrones was perfect, story-driven it sucked. So to conclude here, before the sun sets and I'm getting totally cast in shadowy darkness, it's a beautiful day, absolutely beautiful day. Let me tell you that if you focus on your story, don't worry about publication, don't worry about inspiration, just focus on your story. And story is character development, dialogue, language, style. Have fun with it. Don't worry about the nitty-gritties. Don't worry about the stuff that the amateurs worry about. Worry about story. Everything else will click into place. And that, my friends, is an absolutely brilliant thing. Now I'm going to switch off. Going to enjoy my beer. See what I'm going to do tonight. Maybe I'll just edit this video. Ciao.